Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com and I'm back to share an exciting announcement, and that is that Missing Stamps has a brand new release today. I've got one of my favorite new products here and I'm going to be sharing a few along the way as well. This is the A2 Castle Scene die, and it's absolutely amazing for layering and for building up castle scenes. It has this A2 size frame along with some water, waves, ripples, and these rocks and additional layers here that you can add to the top of the castle. So I went ahead and cut this out, and stay tuned because I'm going to show you not only how you can use this for an A2 scene vertically like this, but also I'm going to build one horizontally. And I've got some tricks to share with you, so watch for those. But for now, I'm going to build it up as it is intended, and I'm going to color up the water. I left those ripples in my die cut here. You can remove them if you want to. You can also remove them completely from the die, but I left mine intact. So I went ahead and used some distress inks to color that up, and now I'm going to start shading that castle in one of my very favorite grays. This is the Iced Spruce Distress Ink. I'm just going to shade that up, and also the little house that's hidden right down here in the rocks. So I want to make sure to get all of the castle scene and that little house. The rocks don't necessarily matter because we are going to be layering those up. And here's the rocks layer. I also cut these out of white and I'm going to color them with distress ink. I just really like the look of coloring with distress inks. You could also cut these out of solid colored cardstock if you want. You could color them with Copics or any of your favorite mediums. I am just inking on some hickory smoke here, and because I wanted it to be even more of a contrast with that castle, I'm going to bring in some black soot as well. So I'm just checking this to see how dark it is, and yes, I definitely need some darker ink on top, so this black soot will do that trick. I'll just add a little bit to each of these sections here, and check that out. That's going to be beautiful when we get those layered together. For the die cut piece that's representing the land, or it could be a sandy beach, it could be whatever you want, I decided to go with like a grassy hill, like a little grassy knoll. So I am going in with some Rustic Wilderness Distress Ink for that. Again, use your imagination and color them whatever color you want. Now I've cut out the extra little layering pieces, and some of them I left in the cardstock. I found it to be easier to color these up when they were still in the paper, in the cardstock. So I left them in, and I'm bringing in one of my favorite distress ink colors. This is the Uncharted Mariner. And I'll color up all of these little rooftops and the tops of the castle turrets here. So all of them I'm just coloring up with this same distress ink. Now I'm going to start assembling and putting all those roofs on. This one goes right here on the tower, and I found the easiest way to attach these for me was to attach the largest ones first. So they're pretty easy to figure out where they go. All of them are a little bit different shape. Let me just give you a little closer look here. So see, that one is the easiest to figure out. Then there's this one that goes right here. There's a little notch in the top of this part, and that goes on the top of the roof. So it just gives a little bit of space for that little, I want to say smokestack, but I'm not sure that that is the correct terminology for it. So I'll add this piece here. That's one of the other larger pieces. And as I go, I'm just kind of puzzling these together. This one has two of them put together, so you can tell easily that it belongs right here on this one. And then there's some little ones that go right in here. It is so great because there are etched lines in this die, so it just kind of shows you where all of the pieces belong. I know in the video it's difficult to see all the little etched lines, but in real life you can definitely see where they go. So see here, I'm just attaching all of them. Now, you can decide to attach all or some or just a few of them, whatever you want. I mean, you could stop right here and it's still just very, very cute. I'm going to be attaching all of them today so you can see the difference and what it looks like. But see, there's a little one that goes right here. And that one's pretty small. And then a couple more that go just right over here. And we'll just finish putting this all together here. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach the rocks because I wanted to make sure that the little house down here, that it would all fit together before I added the roof and the other little pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rocks right here. And I found it very easy to line up. Again, those etched lines just really make it easy. I love this castle die. So simple. So there we go. So now I can add the last two little roof pieces. This one belongs right here. And the last one is the smallest one ever. I had to use my tweezers for that one. And that one goes right about there. Look how amazing this is coming together though. So, so beautiful. Oh, and there's a piece I missed right there as well. So I'll add that. Just like so. In this die set, there's also a little boat that has a little light that you can attach to the top. And you can use that on the water. So, so cute. So there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and create the skyline for this, and I decided to just use the cutout. So this is all going to be almost one layer. So the top of the paper that cut this out, I'm going to color in some sunset colors, starting with some yellow. I'll bring some orange in, and then I've got some pink, and then for the very, very top, I'll use a darker purple. I'll go back and forth between the colors just a little bit to get a nice blend. See, I'm just adding the smallest amount of purple just right on the top. That's going to make it look like the evening sky. Such a fun sky to create as well. So colorful. All right, so let's go ahead and create our frame. Now this comes in the die set. It cuts this frame for you as well. And I wanted my frame to be black, so I'm taking the chisel edge of a black Copic marker and going over that frame. There we go. And now we can start putting all of this together. So I'm going to glue the frame on the card base first, just like that. And then we can add the sky right over there. And this is just turning out so pretty. Look at that sky. So we'll puzzle that in, then we'll puzzle in this castle. I love all the extra dimension you get from these layers. So pretty. And there were a couple pieces that didn't stay in. I wanted to just go ahead and put those in. So I'm adding a little glue. They stuck into my die. So I'm just going to place this over the top, add those right in, just like that. I'm going to show you an alternate option for the windows as well. For this one, I just left all those die cuts in and colored them all the same gray as the castle. Then there's the water, and here's the land right up front. And see how easy that is to put together, and it creates just this amazing, beautiful scene. And imagine all the different colors that you can do as well. And there's the little boat. I decided for this card, I wanted to use one of these owls flying and bringing in a letter. So I'm going to color these up with some Copic markers. I'm just using some neutral grays here to color in that face and then add dots to the wings. I was inspired by a little snow owl, like a snowy owl, and so that's why it's white with spots. And then I'll use the coordinating dies to cut out a letter and that little owl. And I'm going to glue the letter right to the owl right there. And we'll have it just kind of flying in near the front of this scene. For the sentiment, I'm going to use the castle stamp set here to pick a sentiment. The one I really wanted to use was a little bit long, and I didn't want to cut it, and I didn't want to mask it off after all of that work. So I decided to choose a different sentiment. And this one is probably going to work really well. This one right in the center, and it says make your own magic. So I'm going to test it out here, and I decided that that sentiment should go over to the right, kind of balance out this card with the owl on the front left and that sentiment on the top right. That'll work out perfect. So I'm going to stamp it a few times using my MISTI to make sure I get a really nice impression. I don't want to mess this up now. And I'm going to add a couple layers of foam adhesive to that owl. And so he's really going to be dimensional popped up on front there. So I'm going to put him just like this. I didn't want his wings to cover any of that castle, so I put him right near the front. And there's our first card. Look at that. Make your own magic. So pretty. Now I just wanted to show you the other options. This is horizontal. I went ahead and used this cloud scene stencil to make the clouds there. And I'm going to use the cutout of the ocean waves as a stencil. So I'm just going to stencil in some of those waves on my panel here. I've already inked it up with some light blue. Now I'm coming in with a darker blue and adding in those lines, just nice and subtle, but it really does add something to the scene. I'll move those over and use these ones down here as well. So there are my waves, and now I've cut out some extra rocks that I can layer up. So this time I'm going to make this extra dimensional. I cut them out of gray so that it wouldn't be distracting with a different color behind there. And I'm going to layer up all of the different sections of rock. So I will in the end have 3 layers, because 2 of gray and 1 of the inked one on top. But I wanted to show you, you can just use colored cardstock. See how pretty that looks? But I really do like the color of the variation with the inking. So I'm going to stick to using that one on top. But again, colored cardstock would look amazing on this castle die as well. Or even coloring it with Copic markers, I think would be so pretty. Now I wanted to have gold windows shining through the back of those dies. So what I did was I used my embossing mat to cut this out, and instead of cutting it, it just pressed it into the gold. So I just embossed that die. And now I'm going to cut it out. Now this part is a little bit more work, but it's worth it because you're going to get all of the gold windows all in one swoop, all in one go. So see, I'm just kind of easily following those lines there, cutting out the outline shape. So this will fit right behind that castle die, and it will look like it's all lit up inside, all illuminated with a beautiful gold. I am going to cut off the bottom portion of this. I'm going to cut off where the bridge is, because I don't want it to be gold behind the bridge, just behind the windows. So see how that looks? It's so beautiful. So that's just a shortcut. Now you could just cut little pieces of gold and layer those, like you could just cut rectangles of gold, but I just thought this was going to be faster, and it's such a neat little trick I wanted to share with you. So, oh, I missed a couple of windows here, so I'm going to go ahead and pop those out. I left a few of them in where the kind of the wall is, because I just want the windows up top to shine gold. So there we go. I put all of that glue behind there. I'll layer it up on top of that gold layer that we just cut. And look at that. I don't know why this makes me so happy, but it just does. There we go. And so see, I'm just showing you how you can just cut little rectangles if you want and put it behind each of the areas. So there's a couple options for adding those lights. All right, so look at that. So pretty. Now we're going to layer up all the rest of this, and with the magic of editing, I'm going to skip forward to all of those roofs installed. I used purple this time. I thought purple would be so pretty, and I wanted to layer up that house a couple of times so that it could stand on its own with the extra layers of the rocks. Now I'll just add those dimensional layers of rocks, and I am in love. Look at this. So, so pretty. Before I add the rocks on the left, I am going to soften up this edge by just kind of rounding the corners of that rock. I thought it would be easier to do it layer by layer because, again, these rocks are 3 layers thick. So I did the bottom layer first, then after I added the top layer, I'm going to go ahead and round off those corners just a little bit. This way it makes it look like it's not supposed to be, you know, just like a flat edge. It just makes it more organic looking. And that way you can use it on a horizontal card like this. Look at that. So pretty. So I'm going to finish putting this together. I added a sentiment and I added a flying key, but look, I've got one of the little mini flying cars. And that would be cute on here too. I decided to go ahead and add some wings to this key. I used some vellum that I colored up with a Copic marker with a little bit of light blue. So this is going to be a really subtle looking magical key on this background. See, it's kind of magical. I love that. And then I cut the car out of glitter paper so you could have it like kind of hiding and coming out from behind the castle if you wanted to. I ended up leaving that off for now. I stamped the sentiment from the castle stamp set that says, "Have a magical day." Now I'll add that little flying key, and that's going to finish off this card. I'll just kind of fluff up those wings just a little bit. Look at all the dimension and look at that shine behind the windows. It's just wow. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am in love with this castle die. I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek video. As I said, the new release is available today, the day this video goes live. I'll have all the links below so you can check out this castle die, the owl stamp set, the other dies that I used for the magical wings, which was from a previous release. And you can also check out everything in the new release. I hope you enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back real soon with more inspiration. See you then. Bye-bye.